Hello everyone, welcome to week 5. I can't believe it, we're halfway through already. So this week we're going to look at Google Forms. Specifically going to be looking at Google Forms and how to create a survey. So first, here's a little infographic about Google and education and Google Apps for Education. This is a little bit different than what you have when you just have an email account because they're secure, and school districts don't have to pay necessarily to have the apps, but they do pay for that security. So this is just an infographic explaining a little bit about the rise of Google in education. It's a little bit old, 2012, but that's okay. It's still interesting to see that that rise and that push towards Google Apps. Oregon was actually the first state in the US to have Google Apps in all K through 12 classrooms. So that's kind of cool. It's close. And then universities also are switching over to Google Apps. It's very similar to what we have with Office 365 here at Western. And the same kind of thing, Western pays for security with that. So just to give you an idea of Google in education. So take a look through that. So like I said, we're going to be working with forms and surveys this week, and some of you may have done this before, and that's great. Here are some resources on how you can use surveys in classrooms and things like that. There's polls and infographics and other Google Forms. You can create self-grading quizzes, which can be really nice. And then also Flubberoo has been created. It's kind of a funny name, but it's created for automatic grading as well. So that's kind of cool as well. So take a look at those. Here's some ideas on how you would use surveys in a classroom. So you can use them to find out who has access to tech. Exit tickets from class, so when the class is over, and to get feedback on it. Climate surveys about the school, like school environment kind of thing. Parent satisfaction, peer evaluations, collecting data about a neighborhood even, and sending surveys to other schools to track data. So those are helpful. This right here, this IT 344 check-in, I'd like you to take that. It's a survey that I've created. It specifically has multiple types of questions on it, so you can see the kinds of things you can do with a Google form, but it's also for me to have a better idea of where we're at in this class, and it's a perfect example of a way that you can use Google surveys. So really quickly, we're going to look at Google Forms. So right over here, to get to Google Forms, just go to your Google Drive, click on New, and come down here and click on Forms. So up here, you'll have some options. You can show progress bar at the bottom, allow only one response, shuffle order. You can mess with those as you will. I would, for the purposes of this survey, don't do the one, or don't do the second one, only allow one response. And it doesn't really matter if you shuffle the order, so you might as well not bother. So up here is where you would type in your title. So classical languages, education. And here is where you actually type in your question. So these need to be quantitative questions for the purpose of this survey. So I'm going to ask something like, did you have access to classical languages in high school? Okay, so the reason this is a quantitative question, oh, and here you can add in, some extra things like languages like Greek or Latin, something like that. It's just a helper to figure out what they need to be thinking about. So your responses here, you have multiple choices: text, text paragraph, multiple choice checkboxes, choose from a list, scale, grid, date, time. For the purposes of this survey specifically, your 3 options are going to be multiple choice, choose from a list, or scale. Checkboxes can work, but the analysis of those will be a little bit more difficult later. So multiple choice, choose from a list, or scale are going to be your best bets. So we're going to go with multiple choice for this one because this is a yes or no question. So yes. And down here, click to add or no. Okay, so that's pretty much it for creating your questions. Over here, you can edit your question, you can duplicate. So if your next one is going to be exactly the same format, just a different question, you can do that. You can get rid of it with this right here. One thing I forgot to say, up here at the title of your entire survey, I want you to have a detailed description of this form. I want you to be talking about why you're asking people these questions, and the fact that you're in a class is not the answer I want to see on there. But give the more detail you can give, the better. So just keep that in mind. When you're done formulating your question, click Done, and then add item to start your next question. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Oh, down here, get rid of this. Your response has been recorded. Say something else. Say something like, thank you for your participation. If I can spell it. Something like that. It's a little more personal and it's not as standoffish. Get rid of the show link to submit another response. You don't need that. And you don't. You can do the allow responders to edit just in case they want to. And then when you're done, you'd send form. Okay, so that's how you create a Google form, the really quick nuts and bolts of it. So we're going to come back into Canvas here. Sorry, just moving the screen a little bit. All right. So Purdue OWL is going to be a fantastic resource for you as you try to come up with your questions. Last week when we did the proposals, that was designed to help you start thinking about these questions, but you may be looking at them now and thinking, oh, that's not going to work for a survey. So look at this article to help you get an idea of how to create good survey questions. And more than likely, you can use the questions that you had. You just might have to rework them a little bit. And then here's another survey as well. I recommend also for this survey not using just yes or no questions. Use a variety of different kinds of answers, but they're all going to be multiple choice or countable in some way. It's why they're quantitative questions. Also look at this to refresh yourself on quantitative questions and what that is. And this is specifically for in Google Forms. Okay, so if you don't already have one, create your Google account. It's free. You don't have to worry about that. And then you're going to create this survey. Make sure that you in the description, you let people know what the survey is for and why they're taking it. Also, make sure that they know that it's anonymous, so you will not be getting their names. That's also important. This form needs to have 5 questions that are quantitative, and if you would like to include an open-ended qualitative question, that's great. And in fact, it's encouraged, but make sure there's at least 5 quantitative ones. Okay. Be sure to double check your questions for grammar, spelling, and readability. Now, you cannot send this form out until it's been reviewed by a peer and you get the okay from me. This is really important. You're going to submit it here on Canvas, but you're not going to send it anywhere else first, okay? Not until I give you the thumbs up. Virtually, that is. Also, when it does come time to send these out, you have a lot of ways to send them out. You can do email, web page, Facebook, Twitter, all of that kind of thing. The one thing you cannot do is send them through school district email, okay? So if you're working in a school right now and you want to find out what your working professor or your working teacher says, if you have a personal email, that's fine. If your friend's on Facebook, that's fine, but you cannot use school district email, okay? So just make sure you stay away from that one. Again, only send this out after I give you the heads up, okay? Or the thumbs up, sorry. Okay, so basically after I have graded it, that's when you can send it. Here is the rubric, so take a look at that before you kind of get started. Just use it as sort of a checklist. Once you've created it, you're going to post it in this response, okay? Then as always, we have our week 5 reflection. So do that, and please don't forget to respond to one classmate. A lot of people are still forgetting to do that sometimes, in this class and in others. And then the week wrap up, we've created a Google form to send out and gather information. And next week, we are going to be looking at digital footprints and privacy, and we will create a digital citizenship video or online poster. Um, this this is placed here so that you have some time to get some responses from your survey, because after that we're going to analyze the data. So I hope you enjoy creating your survey, and I look forward to seeing what you all come up with. If you have any questions, please contact me. It's what I'm here for. And I'd love to hear from you all. So have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next week.